from Maverick Stadium in Adelanto, California, it's Colorado Silver Bullets baseball. Tonight, the Fort Irwin Phillies and the Silver Bullets. Hello, everybody. Kent Ordovanitz along with Bridget Venturi. Welcome to Silver Bullets baseball. Well, the Bullets playing their next to the last game of the year. It's our last telecast here on the Women's Sports Entertainment Network. And I noticed Phil Necro made a few changes, Bridget, in his lineup card.
We've got two new players in the lineup who are normally starters. Kara Kokenauer at first base and Linda Kelly, who will be DHing tonight, the new player picked up out of the Geneva, Illinois tryout. Perhaps some of this experimentation will serve as their last televised win.
Yeah, a few changes there. There have been no changes at third base all year long. There's been the stalwart play of Stacy Sonny, a solid glove, an excellent bat, a great honoree, recently nominated Sportswoman of the Year. Earlier, an opportunity to talk with a fine fielding third baseman.
I'm very honored to be a finalist, and I am amongst some very great athletes, and I'm just looking forward, and hopefully I'll be chosen.
And Bridget, really no surprise there as a nominee. She has been solid, consistent all year long, both on and off the field.
Yes, a great athlete and really just a genuinely nice person. It's really great to see Stacy Sonny and as an honoree.
We'll keep tabs on Stacy tonight. Also the starting pitcher for the Bullets, Pamela Davis. More here from the high desert in California right after we pause for these commercial messages.
I'm Susan at
It's a warm, breezy night here in Southern California, the Mojave Desert. This is the site of the Class A ball club. The Mavericks, the High Desert Mavericks, Class A club of the Baltimore Orioles. Bullets in the Fort Irwin Phillies. And the Fort Irwin team, well, Fort Irwin is located northeast of Barstow. And they have going for them tonight Randall Clayton, a one-loss record of 6-1, a 1.07 ERA. They played in this ballpark in the past. This is a combination of U.S. Army servicemen, also a few folks from the Air Force, and they do have one civilian and a pretty good one-loss record, 13-4. He'll face this lineup for the Silver Bullets. Leading off, Michelle McInerney at second base. Shannon Mitchum will be at short, alternating with Tony Heisler the last 3 or 4 weeks. Stacy Sonny will be at third base. Kim Brodson center field. We mentioned top of the program, Linda Kelly gets the start as the designated hitter. Pam Schaffrath in right field. Carrie Kropke will be in left. Kara Kokenauer at first base. That's her first start at that position this year. Shannon Kimberlin is the catcher. So the Bullets winning one of the last 4. That was the trip up north. 3 games in the state of Washington, 1 in Portland. 2 of the games they played pretty well, Bridget, but now they get down here to the Mojave Desert where Joshua trees grow, if that's what they're called. But this, by the way, as we get a lesson in landscaping, this is a Joshua tree. And defensively, more about this tree in a moment. Defensively for the Fort Irwin Phillies in the outfield, left to right, Dill Minton, Scott Pierce, and Greg Moats around the infield. Scott Riddle, he's a good one. James Hoffman is the manager of the team. He's at short. Weitzel at second. Fox at first base. Tim Thompson is the catcher, and the pitcher is Randall Clayton. So Phil Necro said, yeah, the team played well at points 2 of those games, but the bottom line, they won just 1 of the 4 and would like to really get a little impetus going toward next year with just 2 games remaining this season.
Yeah, this is a tough time for the Silver Bullets. They really got to literally suck it up here in the last couple days. Many of the California players are in their home areas, in their hometowns, see their families, and it's a little bit difficult to concentrate at the end of the season here, but I think they're mentally focused enough to attack the Phillies tonight.
And then they'll take on a team in San Diego at Jack Murphy Stadium on Sunday. Michelle McInerney, no ball, 1 strike count. Michelle having a pretty good year. May not have matched her good marks from the 1994 season. 2-time college All-American 1984 and won the honor in 1985. 9 RBIs on the year, doing a great job in terms of getting on base. And the fastball upstairs, and we can see right away Clayton brings it up there pretty good.
Well, Max said her goal was a 500 on-base percentage this year. That's what she was shooting at. So she's pretty close with a 467 right now. She can get on base 1 or 2 times these next 2 games. She may be pretty close to hitting that 500 mark.
Count goes to 1-2. You see the outfield. Giving it a little room out in right center field. And well back, the second baseman. That's Travis Weitzel. Out ahead, Randall Clayton. This is a pretty young team, the Phillies. They have won 13 of their 17 games. And the 1-2. Ball pushed to the right side on one hop, gloved nicely by Weitzel, and we have one away. The Fort Irwin Phillies, a member, they're part of the Mojave Desert Baseball League called the MDBL. It's a semi-pro league based out of Hesperia, not too far here from Adelanto, which is near Victorville, which is between Barstow and folks, it's in Southern California. Let's just tell you that. We're in the Mojave Desert on just a beautiful night for baseball and sold out here at Maverick Stadium. Ball 1-0 to Shannon Mitchum.
Well, we've gotten a quick look here at Randall Clayton's stuff. He says he's got a fastball, a slider, and a change, with his slider being his money pitch.
Fastball inside there. The count goes 2-0. Interesting to note, Bridget, when fans get a chance to see the Bullets for the first time, they are surprised and impressed how the Bullets will hang in there against the hard throwers. 2-1.
It's usually not the speed per se, unless you're talking over 85, 88 miles an hour. That's when you start getting into problems with catching up to the ball, and bat speed being perhaps a deficit right now for the Silver Bullets. It's really the contrast in the speed versus the junk. That's what makes hitting the most difficult thing of this game.
Yeah, that disparity as it's fouled off, and the count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Last year when you played with the Bullets, was that what gave you more difficulty, when the guy after the good fastball would come back and take something off it?
Well, sure. That's the difficulty in hitting itself, is getting your momentum going, but saving it for the fastball and without expending it for the curveball. It really is a fine line between attacking and being too aggressive and being passive and waiting for the ball. In fact, last night I was with Shannon Mitchum, and we were speaking with the Expos hitting coach, Tommy Harper, and we were going over some of these, fine intricacies of hitting, and he basically said it just takes practice, repetition. It's a timing movement.
Foul ball. The count remains full, 3-2. And no real surprise, I guess, either, Bridget, the fact that it's been the breaking ball, the curve ball, and sometimes that straight changeup that has given the Bullets more trouble than the fastball.
Not only that, the release point, the combination of coming off a lifetime really in training in softball, where the release point, the spin, the movement, all of these things that the ball does in softball almost does it opposite in baseball, and it really is a matter of retraining your eye and retraining your reflexes.
The 3-2 and the fastball there, swung on and missed. Mitchum strikes out. 2 outs here in the first inning. Now, while some of the Bullets have played baseball before, whether it be in high school, they haven't played for very long.
Well, a full count, and Clayton goes with the heat. He challenges Mitchum and puts it by, or comes up a little bit high. It was a strike. It was a good swing, but you don't fool yourself. Clayton pitched for Florida State. Oh, excuse me. Clayton pitched for University of Arkansas in Little Rock. Moats played for Florida State, and that's a Division I program, and a very fine baseball program at that. Not too long ago, back in '85 to '90.
Working to Stacy Sonny here with 2 outs in the first inning. No score, just the start of things. Happy you joined us here from the high desert. Again, the Bullets wrapping up the season Sunday, a long season. Bullets have won 11, lost 31, but much improvement from the 1994 campaign. Fastball upstairs. The count goes to 2-1. And throughout the telecast tonight, we'll talk about the areas in which the Bullets have improved, and the areas which really have pleased manager Phil Niekro. You see part of the sold-out crowd here at Maverick Stadium. Swing and a miss by Sonny, and we go to 2-2. Phil acknowledged that, yeah, it's been a long season, but there have been some pleasant surprises along the way. And they can't wait to get ready for the 1996 season. Tryouts throughout this year, more tryouts in the warm weather cities throughout the winter, trying to find the best women to play baseball for the Silver Bullets.
And there's some of them right there. At the moment, those are the finest baseball players in this country.
3-2. Did she offer? No. Ball 4. Sonny down to first base. So Stacy works Randall Clayton for a walk. 2 outs. It'll bring up Kim Bratz.
It's a good eye by Sonny right there. With a 3-2 count, she doesn't chase that junk that Clayton's throwing on the black part of the plate. She got a good look at both McEnany and Mitchum at the plate and know that he could bring the heat in, and she forced him to do that.
Kim Bratz climbs in the batter's box, batting .225. Having a very fine year. And Bratz having to do it with all sorts of injuries here in '95.
Well, she's hobbling around on a bad leg right now, but you wouldn't know it by the way she's swinging the bat and the way she's covering that ground in center field. She's playing with a lot of heart right now.
Talked about the areas in which Phil was pleased, and he was boasting about the play of her defense in center. We've also talked about not many women with a great bat speed, but one of those here at the plate in Bratz.
And coming off a 12-game hitting streak that ended last week up in the Northwest. She's hit safely in the last 14 of 16 games. Just really seeing the ball well right now.
1 ball and 1 strike, 2 outs. We're in the top of the first inning. Clayton deals. We've seen some pretty fair pitchers against the Bullets this year, but Clayton appears to have a pretty good idea. Mentioned the good slider and a hard thrower.
And Clayton, he holds the career strikeout record at Arkansas Little Rock. So you know he's got some stuff still in that arm.
The 1-2, chased one down low in the dirt. Bratz goes down, a runner left on base. After a half inning, the Silver Bullets nothing, and the Fort Irwin Phillies, they're coming to bat.
Who do you ask for advice before you go shopping?
Professional Engineering Associates.
Into the bottom half of the first inning from Adelanto, California. Phillies and the Silver Bullets, no score. Well, it's another telecast, the Women's Sports and Entertainment Network, and it must mean Pamela Davis is the starter because she's been featured on I believe 3 of the previous 4 telecasts. And Pamela Davis, 2-6, 5.78 ERA, but coming off one of her better outings of the year. Pitched so well against Bellingham last week. 9 innings, 6 hits, just 2 runs allowed, and just 2 walks.
That was a great game too. Pam was telling me about it earlier in the game, and she was really proud to pitch that game.
Line up the chill face for the Fort Irwin Phillies tonight. Scott Pierce will lead off. He'll be in center field. Travis Weitzel, the second baseman. Scott Riddle at third. He's a good player, plenty of speed. Randall Clayton, the pitcher. Tim Thompson in the catcher spot. Greg Moats in right field. Hoffman at short. Fox at first base. And Dale Minter will bat ninth and play left field. Defensively, back of Pamela Davis for the Silver Bullets. Left to right in the outfield. Kropke, Bratz, Shafrath. Infield, Sonny, Mitchum, McEnany, and Kokenauer. The catcher, Kimberling, and Pamela Davis, the pitcher. Scott Pierce, the batter. .23 years old, and takes it for a ball. You're right about that game up in Bellingham. Bullets played well, lost though in 11 innings, 3-2, but she surely pitched well.
I think that was her first full game that she did pitch in terms of innings wise. She went all 9, and it was a great game, great defense, some hard hitting by both clubs, and Pam said she really enjoyed that, just the purity of seeing a good baseball game played.
One of the bright spots for the team, particularly in the second half of the season. Back to the plate. Ball sent out toward left center field. Kropke coming over long with Bratz, and Bratz with a diving grab. Super catch by Kim Bratz. Well, we told you she can cover some ground, and she just showed us here, ranging far to her right.
She makes it look easy. Pam gets this fastball up and in his wheelhouse, and he takes a nice shot over to left center. And Bratz just good concentration. Excellent catch by Kim Bratz.
Yeah, the diving effort by the center fielder. 1 out here in the first inning. Travis Weitzel, the batter.
Well, you talk about life on the road and what do baseball players do in between games, and what do pitchers do in between starts. Well, Pam Davis, I don't know, out of boredom or being a clean freak, she has washed her shoelaces twice since her last pitching outing.
Twice. Who would wash him even once?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you ever get a chance to look at her shoelaces, you'll notice they are sparkling. There you go.
Wait a minute now. Now the left one looks very clean. The right one, of course, that might have been drag it in the dirt here. The first couple of pitches, as she misses for a ball.
Maybe she'll wipe that off in between innings.
Yeah, you're right.
Keep it even.
Ever think about just exchanging or changing the shoelaces as opposed to washing them?
Well, in fact, I did have to exchange shoelaces as a pitcher in the bullpen. Beanie Ketchum came off the mound last year during a game and broke her shoelaces, and I gave her mine. So I was sitting in the bullpen with no shoelaces, and my shoelaces pitched a win last year.
Keep tabs on your shoes tonight. Weitzel down to first base, on with the walk. Bring up Scott Riddle. Well, Phil Niekro said, yeah, Pamela Davis really has done quite well, and he is expecting big things from Pamela next year. Again, I think one of the difficult aspects for Pamela Davis, one of the challenges, is to overcome that rough inning, whether it be the 5th or 6th inning. And if your defense is struggling, or one ball is hit out of the ballpark, that you still have to regroup and get through the inning, fight your way through it. But she sure pitched well in that last start up in Bellingham. Weitzel at first base. He has his lead. Good pitch is Riddle, swing and a miss, 0-1.
I think that is what's impressive about Pam Davis. She is only 20 years old, the youngest player on the team, and she does hold great poise out on the field, and she's a very mature young lady off the field as well, and that's important.
Toss to first base. Now, she's not boastful, but you get the idea she enjoys the limelight, or certainly the pressure.
Oh yeah, any pitcher has to. You have to enjoy being in charge and being the center of attention when you're on that mound, because that's exactly what you are doing.
No score, bottom half the first inning. They walk away as you see Kimberling set up way outside, and they call it like for the pitch out. The ball gets away from Kimberling, advancing down to second base and holding Travis Weitzel.
Come on.
Well, that was a pitch out. It was called. I don't know if that pitch out just got away from Pam Davis, or if Kimberling didn't jump out of the box, the catcher's box, fast enough and far enough. Either way, runner on second base.
1-1 count. Riddle batting. 21 years old, out of Chino, California. Riddle is a one player that the manager, Jim Hoffman, said he'll draw the attention of scouts. Guy that can still be signed. They have just one civilian on the team. Everyone else in the service. Kind of unique, Bridget, because Fort Irwin, the servicemen there, actually trained to simulate Russian maneuvers in terms of tanks and the like. Now, these guys don't speak Russian, but they certainly try to think the way Russians might think when they maneuver.
How do the Russians play baseball? Do they have a special style?
Well, they are playing better, but not quite as well as the Americans, I'm happy to report. The 2-2. Breaking ball, swung on and missed. See you later. Riddle strikes out, tied up. Yeah, he's impressed.
Oh yeah, it moved all right. Moved right under his bat. That was a great curveball right here by Pam Davis. Look at that thing break. Beautiful pitch. Not much you can do. A good curveball is just simply difficult to hit.
Knees go like jelly for Riddle. He strikes out. 2 outs in the first inning. Brings up the pitcher, Randall Clayton. And this guy can swing the bat a little bit. Half a dozen home runs, .525 the average.
Well, they do say, at least Joe Niekro says, pitchers are his best athletes. But I think he's biased.
And he says that only to pitchers, usually. You overheard something you weren't supposed to hear.
Well, he used to preach that to us every day, and we gladly believed it.
Ball ripped sharply by Stacy Sonny. That should score a run. And it's a 1-0 game for Irwin on top. Weitzel scores easily. Smashed down to third.
That was a shot.
Yeah, Clayton can swing the bat. Rips an RBI single. And a 1-0 lead for the Phillies.
Stacey Sonny did what she could to get in front of that ball, but she didn't have much time to move. He really rips that fastball right down the line and kind of jumps over her glove. She got handcuffed a little bit. Not much she can do there.
So a 2-out RBI single for Clayton. He's at first base, his 20th ribby on the year. And it'll bring up Tim Thompson, the catcher. Thompson out of Lakeland, Florida.
Thompson played at Chipola Junior College up in the Panhandle of Florida. And if you know anything about Florida baseball and junior college programs down there, he's got a great background.
Look, he could have played for the Seminoles or the Gators. Stockily built, right-handed batting catcher. Clayton leads away at first base.
You see Davis there using a slide step, trying to shorten the movement on her delivery towards the plate so that the runner at first base does not get a good jump to second if they're thinking about running.
And a ball ripped but foul. By the way, the third base umpire, Bob Mashin, he is 63 years old. The umpires working have never umpired a professional game. There's Bob. And Bob's got the glass guards going. But these guys say they're looking forward to it. The first base umpire, by the way, that's Jim Irwin at second base from Victorville. First base umpire here, that's Bob Gray from Hesperia. Dennis Dietz, 48 years old behind the plate. We're told better than 225 years of experience in this group. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Just standing when I'm 65. This one set for a lookout. Well, he's standing, but it got him.
I think that's a couple points on the old scoreboard. He got him where it counts right there. And a replay. Look at the ump. Oh, just not fast enough today.
But you know, nice thing, Bob never rubbed it.
It doesn't hurt. Are you kidding?
Bob does have some padding. I can tell him that. And he'll certainly acknowledge that as he's having a great time here tonight. The local umpires, great baseball played here in this part of the Mojave Desert. Ball left side, corralling it. The shortstop, the throw, long throw, not in time. Mitchum's throw gets away, advancing to third base on the play. That's Clayton. Thompson on base. Rather than backhanding the ball quickly, it looked like Mitchum opted to try to circle around it. And even though Thompson doesn't run well, it certainly gave him a little more advantage.
That's something that a shortstop just can't do. Once you go to your knees, you're done. Unless you're throwing to second base. She hits her knees and loses her momentum in terms of her throw to first base. Hits a pebble and bounces over Kokenauer's glove. A good stop, but not enough to prevent the base hit.
Hit in an air on the play, and the ball it's hit to left field to hit well. Kropke going back at the track, and Kropke can't make the catch. The ball bounces off the base of the outfield fence. That'll score Clayton. Thompson is in to score. Headed for third is Moats, and he is safe. A 2-run triple for Greg Moats. It's now a 3-0 game. All 3 runs scoring with 2 outs here in the first inning.
Well, I think what's happening here is Pam Davis needs to learn early that these guys can hit. We see Kropke. That's a tough catch. Going towards the fence, knowing you're gonna hit the fence, and keep your eye on the ball. She misses her cutoff there too, which we had to play at third base, and Sonny makes an attempt, but no good. See another angle there, and he gets in just safely. Moats under the tag.
So the ball hit pretty well, even though Kropke had trouble with it. Ball was laced off the bat of Moats. He gets a triple. Thompson and Clayton score. Here's the player manager, James Hoffman, the shortstop, Sergeant James Hoffman.
As I was saying, I think what Pam Davis has to realize now that these guys can hit, and she's got to keep that fastball out of reach. She's going to have keep them off balance with a lot of junk, a lot of off speed, use your changeup, use your curveball and slider wisely, and don't give them those meat pitches, because so far the fastball she's put over the plate they've hit.
3 hits in the inning, total of 3 hits in the game. And the off-speed pitch swung on and missed. She's had some success with that tonight.
And that's exactly what she needs to continue to do. That was a great pitch, and you can see that they can't hit that curveball. If she can get that over the plate, or at least appear to make it come over the plate, she could shut them down the rest of this evening.
She's out ahead 1-2. Back with the off-speed, dribbled up the middle, Mitchum gloves, throws, and the ball dropped by the first baseman Kokenauer, but apparently controlled it long enough. The first base umpire calls her out. Well, 3 runs in the inning, 1 left at third after 1 full. Fort Irwin 3, and the Silver Bullets nothing.
Good news.
He makes a one.
Into the top of the second, the Bullets trail 3-0, and usually replays bear out that umpires make the great call, the accurate call, 98% of the time, and that was the case with Bob Gray's call at first base last inning on the ball that was dropped by Kara Kokenauer, but she recovered, and that ended the inning. But 3 runs on the board for the Phillies. Here at the top of the second, Linda Kelly, who hit a rope in Portland, saw one pitch and laced the ball to the shortstop. She's been swinging the bat well in batting practice. Phil Necro and the staff very impressed, and they said, why not? Let's give her a start.
And this may be her first look at off-speed pitches. As you see, Clayton offers a fastball, and I think he's going to challenge the Silver Bullets until they start hitting it. But Kelly has been hitting batting practice, which are fastballs. Once in a while, Phil and Joe will mix in a slider here and there. Oh, and well, she saw that fastball rather close up, that pitch.
Came so close it was out of focus as Kelly backed off the plate. 2 balls and a strike. Yellow here.
That'll keep you on your toes.
Little limbo action by Linda Kelly.
As we see that ball coming close to Linda Kelly's face, we recall that frightening injury and frightening pitch that Stacy Sonny took in the cheek, in the face, back in Syracuse, New York.
Amazing though, when she was able to play again though, no shyness, no fear, still back in there, still very aggressive. 3-2 in the high fastball. Kelly down to first base, second walk allowed by Randall Clayton. You guys talk much though about that. I've always felt the pitcher's best friend, the fact that he has the baseball, he can instill fear. So much talk though about that.
Fear is really never a topic of conversation. It's something understood. A major leaguer, a little leaguer, has some fear of this white missile coming towards them into, when you're standing in the batter's box. Fear, I don't think anyone has the absence of fear. It's really the control of fear that makes an athlete a good batter.
Pam Shafrath, the batter, yes, certainly unspoken, but definitely acknowledged. As Clayton works to Shafrath. 1 ball, no strike count. Ball sent down the right field line. This drops in for a base hit. Kelly will go to second base. And an opposite field single for Pam Shafrath. First base hit for the Bullets tonight.
And Shafrath has really been doing some fine hitting these last few games. Almost had a home run at the Lake Elsinore game a week ago, and goes with this pitch and muscles it out to right field for a nice little single. She's a very strong hitter. Good all-around athlete, Pam Shafrath. Comes from a good family of athletes as well. Back in Chicago.
They're all good athletes from that part of the country, aren't they, Bridget? Where are you from again?
Yes, well, Chicago, wouldn't you know? I think it's those deep dish pizzas.
A little extra energy, perhaps. Here's Kropke. Ball is tapped foul on the bunt attempt. I'd like to welcome those viewers down in the southeast, particularly in Florida, viewing tonight on Sunshine Network We have quite a few family and friends of the Bullets. Try to keep tabs of the team on the Women's Sports and Entertainment Network. Kropke trying to keep things going. Nobody out. 2 on here in the second inning. Bullets are down 3-0. There's the bunt taken by the pitcher, and Clayton's toss to third base is in time. So Kelly is out. Kelly does not run all that well, and making it fairly easy for Clayton to go to Riddle.
Well, I think what happened there is a combination of, yes, Kelly doesn't have much speed, and also does not have the experienced base running, and it's a different anticipation movement at second base when you see a ball going down in softball and baseball. We keep making that comparison, but that's what we're dealing with here.
And keep in mind, as this one is bounced toward the shortstop. Hoffman tossed to second base, on to first base, not in time. Coming off the bag, the throw comes home by Fox to the plate, and barreling in out of the plate on a good effort, Pam Shafrath. She's out, and that will go as a double play. Boy, Shafrath trying to give it all in a mismatch with Tim Thompson. Told you could have been a running back perhaps at Florida State. He held in there, and Shafrath didn't let up. She did all she could to try to knock the ball loose.
Well, Shafrath, who played football back in grade school, she likes this contact. I'll take you down, linebacker or catcher, you're out of my way.
She moved him. She moved him. Back here to Fort Irwin. The Phillies have a 3-0 lead.
Hi.
Bullets trail 3-0, bottom half the second. As Tim Thompson wondering what hit him. He thought he was playing a women's professional baseball team, and they wouldn't do this, but why not? Try to knock it loose. As Pam Shafrath barrels in to the catcher. Thompson got to respect that.
They're having fun. I think they both enjoyed that one. It's something you always dream of as a baseball, a base runner, lowering that shoulder and just slamming the catcher. And of course, you want to see him end up on his butt and lose the ball. But Shafrath, she likes mixing it up.
She could have picked a smaller catcher. There have been much smaller catchers this year in the scheduled play by the Silver Bullets. Bullets are down 3-0. Bottom half the second, Chris Fox, the batter. Kokenauer was on with the fielder's choice, and out number 2, Kropke at second base, and Shafrath retired 3-2 as Thompson held on to the baseball to end the inning.
Well, some of the Phillies players told me before the game that if they lost, they weren't going to be allowed back into post. So I think they have a lot of pressure on them tonight.
Yeah, they don't want to be wandering the desert here, as while there's a great deal of respect for the Bullets, there really isn't a team that's going to hold back. They can win 18-0. They'll do it. 2-0 misses, 3-0.
And they said those that were married, or still are, I should say, the Phillies that are married said their wives are rooting against them tonight.
All right.
So, which is usually typical. Most of the male players' wives that we've played against are rooting for the Silver Bullets.
Most of the fans here pulling for the Bullets here in Adelanto, California. Maverick Stadium sold out. 3 balls and a strike. Orioles Class A ball club plays here, California League team. And it's got a piece of him. It's a foul ball, but Davis wasn't going to wait. As soon as she heard the call, then she stopped as she wanted to pounce on it. Full count, 3-2. They have a grassy berm down the right field line. Still had a few seats or a few spots available with the chairs and the picnic blankets and all. Beautiful field. Park built in 1991. This one is popped up. Who wants it? Who calls it? And the ball dropped in foul territory by Pamela Davis. Well, most will tell you that the pitcher should not be trying to catch it. Pam might have not been sure that the catcher couldn't get to it, Kimberlin, or the first baseman, Kokenauer.
Well, Ken, I think what happened in this instance here, Kimberlin, you see her look up. She's looking in the wrong direction, and she doesn't even see the ball right now. Now it's a little bit too late. Pam probably hesitantly calling it at that point as it's coming down. And that's a tough position because the first baseman's coming a long way. He's coming at least 90 feet for that ball. And pitchers are usually instructed not to pick up to catch a pop-up.
You're asked to act as the traffic cop, indicate who should make the catch, and that really has to bother Davis. Instead of 1 out and nobody on base, there's nobody out and now runner on base. Fox on with the walk. It'll bring up Dale Minter, the left fielder. Minter was not scheduled to start. In his close stance, takes a strike, 0-1. Minter, also a pitcher out of Chester, Pennsylvania, 29 years old.
There's a wise move there by Davis, trying to keep that runner close. They've already shown that they're going to be aggressive on the base paths, and she has to do everything she can to keep that runner honest at first base. Give her catcher Kimberly a chance to throw him out at second base.
Breaking ball out of the strike zone. 1 ball, 1 strike count. You see Kimberling looking for signs, being flashed out by Joe Necro from the dugout. The 1-1 showing a bunt upstairs, 2-1. Well, after a rough and rocky first inning, 3 runs scored by the Phillies. Davis would love to get out of this inning unscored upon and work into the number 9 hitter right now. Infield double play depth. Fox at first base. He's off on the pitch, got a great jump, swung on and missed the throw to second base, and surprisingly there was any kind of chance. Boy, give Kimberling plenty of credit because Fox had a tremendous jump.
Kimberling did a great job on that pitch. He did get a good jump, you see it right there, and pretty good speed. She gets that ball in and out of her glove in nothing and makes an accurate throw. Just a little bit too late.
Yeah, hit and run or run and hit. You saw the runner Fox looking back toward the plate as Minter went after one that was a bit upstairs. Now the count is 2-2. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Struck him out. Might have got a piece of it. Held on to nonetheless by Kimberling. That's the second punch out for Pamela Davis.
And this is good concentration after she's walked the batter, let Steele get to second base to come back and strike out this batter who she had in the hole.
One out, runner at second base. Go to the top of the order, and Scott Pierce from Los Angeles, 23 years old. Again, majority of the players stationed up at Fort Irwin, which is north of Barstow. Fort Edwards, of course, or the Edwards Air Force Base was closed a couple of years ago. That is nearby. Pitch by Davis. Upstairs, 1-0.
I think one thing that's happening in the Silver Bullet organization is that the pitchers are slowly developing into pitchers. I know they took a lot of people, both from '94 and '95, that just had raw arm strength. And Phil Niekro said, let's take these arms and kind of form them and form these minds into the pitching mentality.
Ball looped to right field, coming over. Shafrath makes the catch. Number 2 here in the second inning. Well, Phil also talked about there are other players that have pretty good arms that aren't pitchers, that who knows, and Kokenauer, the first baseman, was one that he mentioned and has a pretty good arm.
She would make a good pitcher. Long, lanky, good arm speed, kind of a whippy throwing motion.
Sinewy might be the word.
I guess you could call her that.
Well, as Tom Hewitt, our producer, did, but we gave Tom that word. What did he say? Lumbering? Or no, I forgot what the exact verbiage was as the pitch misses for a ball. But there'll be some experimenting, looking for different pitchers next year, although the pitching was much improved this year compared to last season. Looking to take it a step above for '96.
Now, there were certain pitchers on the staff that really showed their off-season work.
McInerney backhand throws and gets a nice play. Michelle McInerney ranging to her right. Terrific play to retire Weitzel. Well, the runner left on base, no damage done. And after 2 full here from Maverick Stadium, in Adelanto, California. 3-0, the Phillies. End of the third so far. I think, Bridget, through the first couple of innings, maybe a microcosm of what this year has been like. We have seen terrific plays turned in defensively. Scott Pierce hit a ball and a diving catch made by Kim Bratz, and a great play made by Michelle McInerney to end the second inning. But then you have to couple that with the ball that was dropped by Pamela Davis, and of course Mitchum tried to corral a ball that maybe she'd been better to backhand. So part of the growing pains with the Silver Bullets team that continues to improve, and they anticipate and look forward to the '96 season.
Well, that's true. If you look at trying to tackle the sport of baseball all at once, it's just really too big of a job. But if you take it in little steps and do one thing right each game, or improve on one thing, sooner or later you got a good baseball team. And I hope that, you know, Phil Necro has that vision to see it, not only just next year, but maybe 5 years down the line as the Silver Bullets organization continues.
Phil acknowledged tonight before the game how helpful it is that other programs are emphasizing baseball more for women than in the past, because the Bullets will be the beneficiaries, not just next year, but 98, 99, going on to the next century. Swing and a miss. 2-ball, 2-strike count.
I think something else that's vital for the Silver Bullets to improve as a team every year is off-season programs, not only individually but as a team playing baseball, getting the innings in, getting the at-bats, seeing the curveball, picking up ground balls. I think that's going to be very important in the development of women baseball players. You can't go 6 months without seeing a curveball or without getting back on the mound.
Kimberling pops it up near the foul line. Moats comes over and makes the catch. You know, we saw the young fan earlier, and that really is the key that Phil and company feel that you got to get them hooked early. Get females involved in the game at an early age, not just college age, but get them excited. Watch games like this in person. Play Little League baseball, and opportunity, perhaps high school baseball. Develop your skills so that when you get a chance, perhaps, to play professionally, you have maybe 10 years of experience behind you. That is not the case here with the Bullets in '95.
Right. Well, the Silver Bullets are already years and years behind in experience in terms of baseball, and they really have no time to waste. If it's December and you can play baseball, you got to go out and take advantage of that. And I think after one off season, seeing the difference in players who did play or who did try to stay in baseball shape, you can see the performance on the field.
1-1, and the ball laced to left center field. That's in there for a base hit. Over to cut it off to center fielder Scott Pierce, and a sharp single for Michelle McInerney.
Nice piece of hitting here by McInerney. As is typical of her, good bat control. Just stays back on that fastball and gets her bat head on it. Uses every ounce of that body and every ounce of that bat.
Nice compact swing, McInerney. Michelle, that intense off the field, is she on the field? I know you know her well and obviously spent time with her tonight.
She's intense. She intensely enjoys life. Yes. Let's put it that way. But believe it or not, she's a pretty relaxed person off the field.
She has her lead at first base. Foul out of play. Shannon Mitchum up here at the plate.
And I know Michelle McInerney did want to send a hello to all her friends and families watching back in Culver City, California. This is her territory, and not all of them could come out to the game tonight. And she's got a huge family, and a lot of them played baseball. Her father, Jim, played for the White Sox in the World Series in 1959. Her cousin, Timmy Leana, pitched for the Expos and
Reds,
Cincinnati Reds.
About an hour and a half or so from Los Angeles. Ball looped to right center field. This is in there for a base hit. Cut it off, Scott Pierce. McInerney digging for third base. Mitchum will hold on with a long single. So Mitchum's base hit, sending McInerney all the way to third. And with one out, Bullets got him on the corners.
Well, they say hitting is contagious, and we see that demonstrated right here. The 2 singles in a row to left and right center. Mitchum doing really the same thing McInerney did, staying back and getting her bat hand on that ball. Going with the pitch. It's a good cutout keep that run from scoring. So we got him on the corners now with RBI leader Stacy Sonny up to bat.
1 out in the inning. Infield double play depth. Sonny walked back in the first inning. Again, we're in the top half of the third. Good fastball put right by Stacy Sonny. She got just a piece of it. No ball, 1 strike count.
And Sonny, our nominee for the Women's Sports Foundation Team Athlete of the Year, in an RBI situation in which she's hitting .317.
Drills it foul though. Into the seats. No ball, 2 strike count. We have finalists for that award. Athletes are considered for nomination based on their athletic record between August of last year and July of this year. And that'll be at the Women's Sports Foundation 16th Annual Salute to Women in Sports, the Power to Compete, held at the Waldorf Astoria on October 16th.
And to give you an idea of the caliber of athletes, last year Bonnie Blair was the individual athlete award winner. Lisa Fernandez was the team award athlete winner. Lisa Fernandez, of course, one of the finalists on the Olympic team, Olympic softball team in '96. And many other Olympians in other sports. Peekaboo Street, the downhill skier, is a nominee. Laura Davies, LPGA golfer, also a nominee. So Stacy is in some very elite company there, and I'm sure her teammates are proud of that.
We'll also be recognizing the entire Bullet team for their contribution to women athletics. Yeah, it certainly has benefited not just women in baseball, but all sports involving women. We have to be a part of it. Our 20-game telecast schedule on the Women's Sports and Entertainment Network. Snap throw to first base, a high throw. And Mitchum back in. Now, will McInerney try to take out this guy, Tim Thompson, if there's a close play at the plate?
Perhaps, I think Mac's best bet might be to go right through his legs. She's got the clearance for that.
Shafrath tried to take out Thompson earlier.
Well, they're really keeping an eye on Mitchum over at first base, perhaps suspecting a double steal or a delayed steal.
1 out. The count is 1-2. Well out ahead. Here's the pitch. Foul back. Nice job by Sonny to protect. Stays alive. 1-2.
And Sonny is a great contact hitter as well as a good hitter for average. She's only got 11 strikeouts on the season, one of the fewest on the team.
Runners on the corners. 1 out. Clayton hoping for a strikeout or a ground out. And again, another fine job to stay alive for Sonny.
That's a key to hitting with 2 strikes on you. If it's something that you don't like, that is the possibility of being called a strike, you stick your bat on it and poke it foul until that pitcher either loses his patience and comes into the strike zone or makes a mistake.
Clayton has walked 2. Good eye by Sonny. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Told you, Clayton's got a good slider and throws pretty hard. But a man reached base in the first against Clayton. 2 runners out on the second, 2 on here in the third. Jammed her. Ball dribbled foul first base side. Yeah, Sonny does a great job of hanging in there, continuing to make contact. Tough pitching on the hands.
Well, as an all-decade softball player at UCLA, you know she knows how to handle that bat. She played catcher at UCLA, and interesting enough, did not play third base in college. You wouldn't know it by the defensive prowess she demonstrates at third for the Silver Bullets, but she said when she tried out for this team, she wanted to be a pitcher or a third baseman, and she did it.
Very soft hands at third. Swing and a miss. Chasing one. A good pitch by Clayton with 2 strikes. Worked one away. And Sonny went after it. 2 outs in the third.
She battled well. That's a good at bat for Stacy Sonny, especially trying to stay out of the double play situation with a runner at third base. I think she fell victim to Clayton's slider right there. And that is what he said was his money pitch.
2 outs. Kim Brot's up here. So the Bullets had a runner at third with 1 out, trying to get him home, but the comeback are taken by Clayton. He goes to first base, and that'll do it. So the Bullets threaten but fail to score. 2 left on base through 2.5. From Maverick Stadium in Adelanto, Bullets trail 3-0.
It's
Maverick Stadium, one of the few ballparks that has the Hardball Cafe. Yeah, in Toronto they have the Hard Rock Cafe, but this is the Hardball Cafe, and fans enjoying themselves out on the terrace. Beautiful ballpark. And they do draw quite well for the High Desert Mavericks. The Orioles Class A ball club, they were an independent or a co-op team in the last few years and having more success this season. Mike Piazza played for Bakersfield, and he hit a home run, they say, was hammered more than 540 feet beyond the center field fence in this beautiful ballpark.
The California League is a very successful minor league system. Began way back in 1941 and folded during World War II, and kind of got a refurbishing after that. And it's one of the best drawing minor league systems in the country. And if you ever get out in this area to see Lake Elsinore, Rancho Cucamonga, High Desert, just some beautiful stadiums and a great place to watch this game.
Yeah, tremendous support. I asked someone, what is Adelanto known for? And she looked at me and said, well, we're known for our stadium. And there is indeed a lot of pride in this beautiful ballpark. No ball, 1 strike count to Scott Riddle, opening up the bottom half of the 3rd inning.
I didn't either. No, they said that one.
This one dribbled, taken by the pitcher Davis. Got a hurry, got him. Nice play. Pamela Davis had no time to lose, and she gave her best fastball down to Kokenauer at first base.
She demonstrates beautifully right there what a pitcher becomes after they throw the ball, and that's a 5th infielder. Picks it up, beautiful play. That's what we call PFP, pitcher's fielding practice. You take it every day in spring training, and it's moments like that where it pays off.
1 out in the 3rd inning.
Either change up or
And Pamela Davis to face Randall Clayton. Clayton, an RBI single in the 1st inning.
Once again, on that last pitch where she got Riddle to ground out, it was a curveball. It fooled him, and he dribbled back to the mound. You can see if her hips start coming down and angled towards the plate, she's going to have a good pitch.
Shafrath makes the catch. Give that to me again, will you, Bridget?
As Davis's hips, as she releases the ball, if they're pointing down towards the plate, she's going to have an effective pitch, whether it's a curveball or a fastball. When she and when any pitcher gets in trouble, when those hips start becoming level or that front hip starts pointing up, that fastball starts getting up up near the chest where a hitter can hit it far,
or that breaking ball,
or that curveball. The curveball starts hanging.
Speaking of hips, Tim Thompson at the plate, and his hips were pushed back a little bit when Pam Shafrath barreled into Tim Thompson. 2 outs here in the 3rd inning. Well, Phil Necro said, yeah, the pitching is much improved this year. We've seen good breaking balls from our pitchers. Talked about Missy Coombs, a tremendous year she's having. Progress made by Pamela Davis. They'll continue to scour the country to find the best female players. 1-2 count. That catches Thompson by surprise. Not happy with the call made by Dietz.
You don't think he wants to win this game, do you?
It's 1-2.
Well, Pamela Davis right now is respecting their power. She sees a luminous figure and a lot of muscle on this batter and is keeping away from him with curveballs and sliders on the outside corner.
They work off the plate again. Here comes the 2-2 breaking ball, golf foul. Kimberly giving it a chase, but a fan from Victorville making the grab. I'm sorry, Hesperia. I'm not sure if he's a Greg Luzinski lookalike or Chris Farley lookalike. We do know that they do serve the pork chop sandwich here at Maverick Stadium. Our crew gives it thumbs up. This one popped up. Shortstop Shannon Mitchum. It comes down into her glove, and that'll do it. A 1-2-3 inning. We've played 3 full here from Adelanto, California. The Mojave Desert Phillies lead the Bullets 3-0. We'll be back. Okay, Bridget, I will go for the pork chop sandwich. What are you going to have?
I think we have a brat.
A bully brat.
A bully brat. That looks good.
We also have sourdough chili. They have the pork chop sandwich.
Good eating out here in High Desert, huh? Wish we could be out there.
3-0. They can bring us the pork chop sandwich, the sourdough chili. They're having a lot of fun here, and we've enjoyed ourselves throughout the year. Not just the major league ballparks, but the minor league ballparks, and they indeed have a lot of fun in the minor league ballparks. Big league clubs could take a few notes and take some lessons from what they've done to entertain and keep the fans happy. I see the biggest roar last night nearby Dodger Stadium was when the replacement player Bush came in the game. All the fans stood up, gave him a standing ovation as they continued to boo Brett Butler.
I think that's what the minor league teams have, especially here in the California League. It's got that interaction with the crowd. They make them feel like they're part of the game. The mascots are out there. You got good food.
Linda Kelly at the plate. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Well, major league executives have been known to stop in here and take a look and see what the minor league teams are doing. The 1-2. Pop foul to play. Now, I don't think we're going to see the crazy bat dance at Yankee Stadium next week or anytime soon, but in terms of the diet or the fair and some other events before games, major league teams are taking advantage and trying to learn what they can from their brothers in the minors. The 1-2 to Linda Kelly. Kelly goes down. 4 strikeouts for Randall Clayton.
And a good piece of pitching here by Randall Clayton. Challenges her with the fastball and beats her.
The fastball sinking a little bit, running in toward the right-handed hitter. 57 pitches in the 3+ innings. Pam Shafrath.
No sign, Shaft. No sign.
Yeah, I'd like to hear if there's any conversation between Pam and Tim Thompson.
Think he's calling for an inside fastball? Nah, she didn't hurt him.
Kelly got one inside earlier in the game. Swing and a miss. And Clayton out hit 0-2. We saw the intensity of the catcher, Tim Thompson. In this ring, Tim Thompson. The other ring, Pam Shafrath.
She has a twin brother that plays football back in a local Chicago college, and I'm sure she's been a tackling dummy for him many a time.
Indeed, the 0-2 down low, 1-2. If you joined us late, take a look what happened earlier tonight.
There she is, running back Pam Shafrath, stopped at the goal line. 4th down turnover.
Oh, yeah. And she goes down on the high fastball. Shafrath strikes out. 2 outs in the 4th inning. Pam out of Drake University.
Well, I think Clayton's turning up the dial here. He's got 2 Ks in a row, and he's not messing around with that slider right now. He's throwing all heat. 5 strikeouts in 4 innings.
He has struck out 3 of the last 4 batters he has faced. Now Kerry Kropke steps up and chases one low and away out of the strike zone. No ball, 1 strike count.
You talk about talented individuals. Kerry Kropke not only being a fine baseball player and athlete, very intelligent, had designs on going to law school before she started playing baseball, and in a third arena is also pursuing an acting career. And she said that her dream, becoming a professional athlete with the Silver Bullets, has inspired her and given her the confidence to pursue another dream, and that is acting.
Chance to talk with some of the stars a couple of weeks ago against the Hollywood Star Sox. Mark Harmon, Kevin Costner, Tim Busfield, that group. Carey out of University of California, Berkeley.
A pitcher there. A pitcher, an All-American. She threw 3 perfect games at Cal, 10 no-hitters.
NCAA All-American. Looking to strike out the side. Clayton, though, in the 1-2, well off the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And who says that dreams don't come true? Not only has she become a professional athlete, but last winter when she was literally walking down the street, Louis Anderson, you know, the comic,
Yep, you bet. Big Louis Anderson.
Spotted her on the street and said, "Hey, I'm starting a new sitcom. You know, would you like to come out and have an audition?" And she couldn't believe it. She said, "You're kidding me. You're just asking me off the street." I said, "Yeah, I like the way you look. You've got, you know, a certain aura." And so she got an audition. I don't know if it led to anything, but certainly the opportunity was something in itself.
The 2-2. Swing and a miss. So Clayton strikes out the side. 3 up, 3 down. To the bottom of the 4th inning we go. Bullets trail the Phillies 3-0. Back to the Mojave Desert in just a moment. We told you we're not going to see this at Fenway Park, but we're seeing it at Maverick Stadium, and the fans love it. We had the gunny sack race, and that followed the 3-legged race. We haven't had an egg toss, but the fans enjoying themselves. And yes, those folks are watching down in Florida. See the Orioles hat. This is the, by the way, St. Petersburg. Yeah, get the S in there.
They squeezed it in. Point allowed. We won't deduct for spelling, will we, Kent?
No. Enthusiasm is all that matters. Bottom of the 4th, and the folks enjoying themselves here in Adelanto. Told you just outside Victorville, and it's kind of a stop off. Folks that drive from LA to Las Vegas come through this part of California. So I'm sure you see a lot of smiles on the way out of this town, and people on the return visit quite depressed. No ball, 1 strike count. Kimberling giving it a chase.
And there's Kimberling with her 5-month-old hat that she will not get rid of. She's worn that hat since spring training, and I got a chance to actually touch it, and it's something you really don't want to touch. I think it's really only made to fit on her head. It's all brown and like cakey with salt and stuff on it.
You get repulsed very easily, but although it does look like Bruce Crabb's hat. He has one that the lucky hat, but at least she puts the helmet over it, making it a little easier for anyone at the plate as Kimberling looks in toward the dugout for the sign.
Well, you do have to be a special person to be a catcher and sit back there.
Ball ripped to the left, and the catch is made by Kropke. Kropke went back in a hurry, then had to come in a half step. The sinking line drive. Moats retired. 1 out in the 4th inning.
Gets that fastball up again, and he sends that well back to the fence. But Kropke underneath this one plays this one well.
Greg Moats had a 2-run triple back in the 1st inning. It was not an easy play for Kropke, but ball certainly that was catchable. Ball bounced off the outfield fence, but no higher than halfway up.
That's something an outfielder has to do, especially these Silver Bullets who are in a different park every night, never getting familiar with the dimensions or the size of the warning track or the texture of the wall, whether it's, you know, brick or wood. And one thing I remember that Paul Blair taught us, the great center fielder from the Baltimore Orioles, who said before every game he would go out and scan his position, scan center field, see what's out there, a sprinkler head, a divot. Maybe there's, you know, the grass is cut differently, which would make the ball roll off to one side or the other. Play the ball off the wall. Roberto Clemente used to do that all the time. Go out to center field and throw the ball off the wall and see how it bounces off.
Makes a lot of sense as Hoffman goes down. He strikes out. As an outfielder, the position out there is your office. You better get comfortable with the surroundings. Here's the punch out.
You see Davis nearly gets him to chase a ball. That's what the pitching is about.
And way behind on it. 2 outs in the 4th inning. 3rd strikeout for Pamela Davis. Now, Roberto, known for terrific throws from Forbes Field out in right field. He actually would throw over a corner of the grandstand, the old ballpark. He'd go in the corner and he would fire the ball to home plate, and it actually would cross over the grandstand, that old ballpark. If he had to play any other position, he would also play it so well, the great one. So last year, Paul Blair had a chance to talk with you guys.
Paul Blair was the outfield and hitting coach the first year in spring training in 1994. And it's just a pleasure sometimes to sit around and talk with those guys about, man, playing in the World Series and playing in the All-Star games and playing next to Brooks Robinson and all the great names that you've read about, and to see them every day and learn from them is a really special thing.
Throughout this year, the Bullets have had a chance to rub elbows with some fine former players. The Maverick mascot. And Woolley's got to be losing some weight. Pleasant on the warm side. Nice night for baseball in Adelanto, California. 2-1 count. Tapped up the first base line. Kokenauer applies the tag. And that's it. 1, 2, 3. That is 9 in a row set down by Pamela Davis. We move on to the 5th inning. Phillies lead the Bullets 3-0. Along with Bridget Venturi, this is Kent Ordovanis. We're in the high desert of California, where Fort Irwin leading the Bullets 3-0. We have a new hurler for the Phillies. Michael High picks up for Randall Clayton here in the 5th.
Attention, please, now pitching for the Fort Irwin Phillies.
2-1, 1-loss record. There's the ERA. And High will face Kokenauer, Kimberlin, and McInerney here in the Bullet 5th.
Now here's a piece of information that we know, but fortunately Kara Kokenauer and the rest of the batters don't know, is that High hit 5 batters in his last outing.
Weitzel recovers and gets Kokenauer. Score that 4-3. And we have 1 out of the 5th inning.
Next batter for the Silver Bullets will be the catcher.
Doing a good job of keeping that ball in front of him and picking it up barehanded. That's the key. That saves him that half a step that beat Kokenauer.
Fine recovery by the second baseman. Kimberlin up here and sends one to right field. That's a base hit. So Shannon, who's been struggling with the bat, 1 out single here in the 5th.
Oh, you can tell she's all smiles after that one. She doesn't have many hits this year, but every one of them counts. That's her 3rd one of the season. And a good piece right here. Gets down on that low fastball and sends it where it's pitched.
Kimberlin at first base. McInerney up here. Ball juggled by the catcher. Kimberlin holding at first base. Next to last game of the year for the Silver Bullets. Looking back on this year, told you 11 wins, 31 losses. A lot of satisfaction for Phil Necro. Been very rewarding. Times, yeah, frustrating, but overall rewarding. I said, what's been the most enjoyable aspect? And he said, and I actually was surprised with the response. He said, the fact the team has been strong mentally throughout the year, not just on the field, but off the field. A long, rigorous travel schedule. Every game is a road game. It's a long season, so they've held through it very well.
And I think what he meant by the rigors of not only just baseball, being mentally tough between the lines, but being mentally tough in dealing with the other things that go along with this job, and that includes doing promotional work for Coors, which is their sponsor. In every city, many of the players have to go and appear in the name of Coors to help promote the sponsorship.
And Chris Farley will make that Thompson able to hold on to it. He does have quick feet to track it down. 2 outs in the 5th inning. Yeah, the Bullets have been great ambassadors for Coors throughout this year and last year. As we see one more time, Tim Thompson.
Good piece of defense. You wouldn't believe how those pop-ups behind the plate can move. That is one of the most difficult plays in baseball.
And that ball that is hit back toward the screen, when it comes back down at an arc that curves toward home plate. It's in foul territory.
Exactly.
Good footwork.
Those pop-ups behind home plate actually go in a curve. So they're curving. If you don't turn around and face the backstop, you're going to be running backwards chasing that ball.
Tim Thompson able to get it done. Mitchum batting 2 outs here in the 5th inning. Mitchum hit on the helmet. Wow. Mitchum nailed right on the helmet. And she went down the first baseline, not the third baseline. So obviously she's all right. High concern, high checking.
Fastball gets away from High. A high fastball right on the dome.
All right, fans, give it up from the third baseman.
Mitchum luckily saving herself from getting hit and smacking the earpiece. Seems to be all right.
Look at that. No glance. Heads down the first baseline. 2 on. 2 outs here in the 5th inning.
Unfortunately, it wasn't Clayton that threw that fastball because he throws much harder than High does.
Stacy Sonny was upset in the 3rd. She had 2 on. Here's a ground ball to the 3rd baseman. Riddle to second base for the force out. And 2 left on base here in the 5th. We're halfway through to the bottom of the 5th we go. And it's the Phillies 3, the Bullets nothing. Into the bottom half of the 5th inning. Fort Irwin Phillies, semi-pro team here in the Mojave Desert area in California. They lead 3-0. One thing I've been impressed with watching the Bullets this year, I did not realize, Bridget, there were so many good semi-pro teams throughout the U.S. playing baseball. And we're talking about a lot of these teams have players who, yes, played professionally. Some even played in the majors before getting back with the semi-pro team.
I wonder if that's attributable to back during World War II, post-World War II era, when there was a Class A, B, C, D, almost an E, when there was opportunity to play professionally, when now it seems like there's less of that available for many baseball players.
Tough competition, and Davis's numbers against that competition tonight settling down since the 1st inning. In fact, Pamela's retired 9 straight batters. She's not allowed a base hit since the 1st inning.
Leading off the inning for the Fort Irwin Phillies will be the pitcher, number 10, Michael High.
And here in the bottom half of the 5th inning, High will lead off. Be followed by Scott Pearson, then Travis Weitzel. Ball poked foul, first base side. 1-1.
Oh, and High's teammates were joking about how he hit 5 guys in the last game. They said he is in the military. He's just keeping his aim.
Yeah, I like it. That's good. Majority of these players train at Fort Irwin, which is well north of here. And we told you earlier they simulate Russian maneuvers. I assume that's on the ground, not in the air, down low. It is an Army base, not an Air Force base.
And High still keeping his aim sharp after knocking Mitchum in the helmet on the wild pitch. That's a tough thing to do for a pitcher, to hit a batter in the helmet, right in the head. That is really the easiest part to move out of the way. And what happened on that pitch, Mitchum ducked. And normally in that situation, batters bail out, get dirty, and fall down. But you really can't plan your bailout. It's pretty much reactive when you're standing up at the plate.
The 3-2, down low, ball 4. high to first base.
Next batter for the Phillies, the center fielder, number 7, Scott
So
Pierce.
Davis, obviously frustrated, out ahead on the pitcher, the number 9 hitter in this case, had 2 strikes, and then comes back and walks the batter.
You're right.
And normally with pretty good control. Pamela Davis now works to Scott Pierce. Fly ball in left field. Kropke has it measured. We told you Kropke is a good player, but when I asked the scout earlier, I said, what is Carrie Kropke like defensively? They said she gets the job done a la Lonnie Smith, better known as Skates, because it's always a little exciting. Bottom line, she'll make the plays most of the time. She's turned in some spectacular catches also this year. But Lonnie Smith, with his nickname Skates, always seemed like he was on them and was playing on ice. And of course, you have no comment about your former teammate.
Well, I know how difficult it is to be out there. Kropke has a different approach to the ball, I guess.
An exciting approach.
An exciting approach to the ball as to some of the other outfielders. Not quite as smooth, but like you said, hey, catch the ball, it goes in the books, right?
Yeah, I think Kim Bratz and Pam Schaffer, they're too methodical in their approach. I mean, I like a little adventure. Overall, it's been a good defensive outfield with that trio, and then you can throw Marzette in there, and she has done quite well defensively. Motto has played well. She's been given the opportunity. And the return not in time. They do get the out at second base.
A good turn there over at 2. The crowd wanted that one. McEnany put that one in the books when it goes to her.
Next batter to
Mitchum
third
tries to get it out of her glove as soon as possible. Just not quite enough on that throw, and good speed down the line by the runner.
2 outs in the inning. Weitzel at first base. Scott Riddle at the plate. We're in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Phillies scored 3 runs in the first frame. Infield single, a sharp base hit by Clayton knocked in a run. Moats with a 2-run triple over Kropke's head, runner going, and fouled off. Fine jump again, enjoyed by Travis Weitzel. Well, the Bullets had a 2.5-hour bus ride from San Diego here to Atlanta. And they'll be returning after the game tonight. They'll be getting back around 1:30, maybe 2 in the morning to San Diego. We'll play at Jack Murphy Stadium on Sunday. Runner going, and no throw is made because it appeared that Mitchum was late covering. In the event, Kimberling was set to throw and then held the ball.
Well, it looks like the runner's going back to the base. And that is a situation where the middle infielders signal to each other who has the coverage of the base.
In this case, they send the runner back. Time apparently was called by somebody because Weitzel is instructed to go back to first base. And maybe that's why Mitchum had held up. He might have heard something. And now the umpires will confer, Bob Gray and Dennis Dietz. Did you call time? Yeah, I called time. Then runner has to hold at first base. And Dan, Dennis Feather saying, I didn't hear you.
Services for more than
Well, now he's going back to second.
locations at 34
That's because Dennis Dietz is the home plate umpire. He's in charge. Phil Necro comes out now. We'll talk with the umpire.
Also Washington, D.C. and the Canadian province of Ontario.
Because obviously you're right. And maybe the bench also heard something, Bridget. Because you're right. We mentioned that Mitchum had held up.
Expertise and experience to help the athletes.
Yeah, she did make a motion towards second and then stopped maybe 5 feet before the bag. So she probably heard or saw the umpire at first base throw up his hands.
We told you this is not a professional umpiring crew. These guys have worked games before, but never a professional game.
Timeout! Get out your rule book!
You hear the voice of Missy Coombs, the philosopher, a.k.a. the philosopher.
And I'm sure Phil's saying, now look at it, as he points to the first base umpire. If a base umpire calls time, it is time for everybody, whether you hear it or not. And the bottom line is to get it right. If it means moving one more time the runner, Weitzel back to first base, then he should be there. And I would say that Phil has seen a little more baseball than Dennis Dietz.
This is true. His presence on the field may not win the argument at hand, but it certainly will tip the scales for any other borderline call in the future of this game.
Or assuming that's the case, because again, Weitzel, once he reached second base, he headed back to first. And then after conferring with Dietz, the home plate umpire, Bob Gray said, no, Weitzel ought to head back to second. And it's important to certainly say, well, what does it matter? Fifth inning, you got a runner in scoring position now. Weitzel, who runs well. There are 2 outs. Base hit by Riddle. It's a 4-0 game. Told you, Phil will not argue very often. He was very heated in a game earlier this month. In fact, almost ejected from the game, but the umpire wouldn't run him because Phil was right and the umpire was wrong.
But never ejected. That is key. I don't know too many umpires at the level that we get in the Silver Bullets games that would throw a man out like Phil Niekro. You'd have to have some mighty heated words to do that, but I guess Phil loses this one.
Weitzel down at second base. Riddle batting. The count is 1-1. 3-0. The Fort Irwin Phillies lead here in the 5th. Riddle saves their best player, but he's been fooled on breaking balls in the first couple of at-bats.
Push him off the bag!
And with the threat of speed at second base, Davis attempting a pickoff play to keep him honest and to keep him from scoring if a base hit gets to the outfield.
1-1 breaking ball sent to right field. Long run for Shafrath. She was playing deep. She plays it on a hop. Weitzel comes in to score. It's 4-0.
And there you go. That's a perfect example of why you do want to keep that runner close to second base. Although there was no play at the plate.
Boy, and you can bet that Niekro is really fuming now. Without that call, Weitzel certainly doesn't score. Time was called by a first base umpire. Time is called. But apparently, Dietz did not acknowledge it and allowed Weitzel to get to second base, where he now scores on Riddle's 2-out single. Riddle at first base, held on by Kokenauer, and here's Clayton. Got a made no contact at all. But he might have got a piece of it. And advancing down to second base, Riddle.
Well, unfortunately, it's breaks like that when Phil loses an argument or perhaps doesn't get a point across to an umpire, if an umpire makes an incorrect call. But you know what? Umpiring is part of baseball as well. It just comes with the territory.
No ball, 1 strike count. 4-0 the Phillies lead. We're in the 5th. This guy's a good player. Pitched well, was effective. Sharp base hit in the first inning and takes it for a ball.
Way ahead now, Pup.
Double check the call by the home plate umpire, Dennis Dietz. Make it an 0-2 count as they work inside. You see Kimberlin setting up. They can afford to waste one on this good hitter. Tim Thompson's on deck, trying to get the final out in the 5th. Tomahawks one down to third. Short hop nicely by Stacy Sonny. Guns to first base and gets her man. Kokenauer taking the throw. Fine play by Sonny. We played 5 full. One more run though for the Phillies. We go to the 6th inning. Phil's 4, the Bullets nothing. Nice play. into the top half of the 6th inning. Fort Irwin Phillies, semi-pro team, the Mojave Desert. They lead the Silver Bullets 4-0 our score. As the totals, a couple of errors made by the Silver Bullets, combined with a few good defensive plays. So that inconsistency continues. Pamela Davis allowed just 1 run in the 5th inning. Had retired 9 straight batters before High reached base to open up the 5th. So good work, and her team still in striking distance, but needing to get something on the board against the Phillies as they trail 4-0, move into the top of the 6th.
Will be the center fielder, number 33, Kim Bratz.
Kim Bratz, the batter. Bratz struck out and back to the box in the 3rd inning. Bullets have had a few opportunities tonight. They had 2 on with 1 out in the 3rd. Had runners on the corners with 1 out and could not play to run. Had 2 on base in the 5th inning, did not score. Likewise in the 2nd and didn't score. The 2-0. Wow. This one a glancing blow, but it did catch Kim Bratz. There have been 2 players hit by pitches, plus 2 more that have been very close.
This one, another fastball getting away from High. Jeez, it gets scary when it's up above the shoulders. Looks like it got her up on the upper shoulder or skimmed the helmet.
It did skim the helmet there as Bratz to first base.
Well, he's on track to hit his average 5 men a game here. He's got 2 in the head so far.
Linda Kelly up here.
That's okay, watch your head.
Is that more Missy Coombs in the dugout?
That is Missy Coombs. Pretty much any voice you hear emanating from the dugout is Coombs. She's very vocal on and off the field.
1-1 count. Checking to see who will start Sunday. It would be Missy. The final game against the Mexican All-Stars at Jack Murphy Stadium. 4:15 Sunday afternoon. Oh, another one.
Well, you were talking about that fear factor, Ken.
Yeah, it's there, huh?
It's coming. When you got 3 up around your head, that's a second one for Kelly. Her last at bat, she had 1 up around her head.
And you talked about High's control problems, as you see Missy Coombs. 5 wins this year. Snap throw to first base, and getting back in, Kim Bratz. And it's not as if High is trying to hit anybody, because as you alluded to, he just has control problems.
It looks like in his delivery he is he's aiming the ball and trying to push it over the plate. Instead of whipping his arm across his body, he's getting conscious of being wild, and that's when the mind games start eating away at a pitcher's psyche. When you start doubting yourself and trying to aim that ball, that's not the way to pitch baseball. It's easy to say, tough, another thing to do.
Down low, that's ball 4. So again, the Bullets have something going. We'll see if they can capitalize on the opportunity. High with control problems, a hit batter, and a walk in the 6th inning. Activity going in the bullpen as they have the left-hander going. This is Patrick Scott, who is their best reliever.
And this right now may be the Silver Bullets' chance to capitalize on some wild pitching by the Phillies. With nobody out, runners at first and second, and Pam Schaffrath at the plate. This is a chance to score some runs.
Bratz at second base, Kelly at first base. Here's Schaffrath. Single in the 2nd, struck out her last at bat. Schaffrath took one near the base of the outfield fence a couple of weeks ago. Able to turn on one. Pops it up. Infield fly rule in effect. Catch is made by Riddle. 1 out of the 6th inning. And it's been that way for Phil Necro's problem. Frustration as the team continuing to get opportunities, but
He's He's probably asking
chase
her,
pitches out of the strike zone.
Right, he's probably asking Sheffer, what are you swinging at? What was that? We've got a guy that can't throw the ball over the plate, and you're swinging at second offering.
That's something Phil touched upon a few weeks ago, and talking about what the team needs to do is show some patience. Go after good pitches, go after strikes, particularly with runners on base. The team hasn't showed a lot of patience as, again, High comes in tight to Kropke.
Well, there's one thing for taking one for the team, but when you mess around up above the shoulders, I don't think I would take one for any team. Well, Kropke is second on the team in RBIs of 15.
Three balls and no strikes. One out of the inning. Two runners on base. Tying run is on deck. And sailing away. If you can pitch, report quickly to the bullpen and then to the mound, because they need some help. Concerned about High hurting someone. And we will have a new pitcher. And this poor guy can't say I didn't have it tonight. He hasn't had it all year in terms of control, but he gave it his best shot. And we do have a pitching change. So Patrick Scott, 4-0 and a 2.76 ERA. Best mark out of the bullpen. He'll take over with the bases loaded. So breaking the action. Bullets are threatening. One out. Sixth inning. Back with more in just a moment.
Fans like to recognize travel. A donation.
We're in the top of the sixth inning. The Phillies of Fort Irwin leading the Silver Bullets 4-0 with Bridget Venturi on Kent Dodavanis. I want to extend our thanks to Paul Beckham and Bob Hope, chairman of the board, the president of the Silver Bullets, for their cooperation. I had a chance to meet Paul a couple of weeks ago, and again they have done what a lot of people said couldn't be done, put together a women's professional baseball team. And during last couple of years they've had all sorts of tryouts throughout the country, as we see the new hurler Patrick Scott, and able to sign players who had played baseball and softball, put together a TV contract, games, great baseball facilities throughout the country, and hiring a most patient man in Phil Necro and a great staff with Joe Necro, Bruce Crabb, Johnny Grubb, John Necro, Gene Hahn, the trainer. It really has been a great year and a lot of fun.
It has, and fortunately I've gotten to see baseball from a different perspective up here in the booth. It was more of a mental season for me, not being able to pitch this year for the Silver Bullets, but getting to work with Prime and at least talk about the game, which I guess is the next best thing to actually playing it.
It's been a good year. You see the runners, Bratz, Kelly, there's Kropke at first base. Bases are juiced. Again, one out here in the sixth inning. Bullets have left a lot on base tonight. Down 4-0.
For the Fort Irwin Phillies, number 34, Patrick Scott.
So Patrick Scott, the new pitcher. Scott originally was supposed to play, but was scratched at the last moment when Minter made a start. And that may be what we're all taking a look at the lineup card.
When you talk about the opportunity that Bob Hope and Paul Beckham have given to women athletes in creating the Silver Bullets organization, and I was watching the Little League World Series last week on television, and it really, when I saw the passion of the game and in those little boys' eyes, it kind of brought me back to what the Silver Bullets are all about. Here's women who weren't able to grow up in the sport of baseball like those boys on television did, who played in front of 40,000 fans at the age of 12. I mean, what an experience. And even when they knew they were overmatched, they lost to Chinese Taipei, I think, in the semifinals. But they were out there just for the love of the game, for being out there, getting the opportunity to show what they can do. And this is really the same premise under which the Silver Bullets organization was founded. Just give these women a chance. They didn't have that youth to play baseball. And in a sense, they are little girls out there starting over on a new sport.
See Shannon Mitchum. By the way, looks like they will not allow Patrick Scott to pitch. We told you originally was in the lineup card, but apparently when he was taken out, there was no mention made to the umpires or to Phil Necro. So as far as they were concerned, that he was in the game and never played. I did not see him out in the outfield. He was originally to play left field. All we can tell you is that we had Minter on a lineup card. Originally I had Scott out there. And Phil showing the home plate umpire what he had, as did the home plate umpire. So we'll have a little more time here as they will go further into the bullpen, and they can't use Patrick Scott. It's got to be frustrating. You look for an opportunity to pitch on national TV. You're all warmed up, and you made mention during the break, this guy looks like he's got pretty good stuff, Bridget, but we're not going to see it out of the game.
Well, he may think that they're being picky or it's a stupid rule, but baseball's baseball. There's certain rules to play by, and especially coming from the team of the Necros, they're not going to bend the rules or forget about something just because someone made maybe a mental error in the lineup. They've just got to deal with that and pick somebody else to hit the mound.
So Scott can't pitch, but Chris Fox will. That means we'll have a new first baseman. Fox was playing over there. And taking over at first base, this is Allen. Yeah, what's his first name? I have no idea. Looking at the roster, this is Aaron Allen. He has changed numbers out of Peoria, Illinois. So Aaron Allen at first base, and Fox is the new pitcher.
And he inherits the mess that High created. Bases loaded, 1 out.
Now pitching for the Phillies, number 23, Chris Fox. And the next batter, let's get it going. Makes a noise for the first baseman, number 55, Kara Kopenauer.
Kara Kopenauer up here with the bases loaded. 1 out. Kopenauer the tying run. Kopenauer 0 for 2. Retired back in the 5th inning. A nice play made by the second baseman Weitzel to recover the ball. He had juggled, recovered, and threw out the runner.
Also now playing first
Out
base
ahead
for the Phillies, number 8, Aaron Allen.
Infield double play depth. Bases are loaded. Bratz, Kelly, and Kroenke on the bases.
Well, maybe there's something on that mound that's making these pitchers wild.
Well, Clayton came in tight, remember, to Kelly back in the 2nd inning.
Yeah.
High hit a couple of batters. The 1-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, here's a situation where Kopenauer needs to get the bat on the ball. With bases loaded, you don't want to go down swinging without any contact. Create something, hopefully an error, maybe a ball sneak through the infield for a couple RBIs.
Kroenke, runner at first base. Kelly does not run well. Roadblock down at second. Runner at third is Bratz. Kim runs well. They take their leads. And a tapper toward the shortstop. They get the out at second base. Relay to first. Not in time, and the Bullets get a run. Bratz scores to make it a 4-1 game. Kelly to third base. Kroenke out at second. 6-3. Nice play made by the shortstop Hoffman.
Yeah, that was a tough angle. He was charging the ball up onto the grass and almost having to throw across his body and make an accurate throw to second. Almost makes a nice turn there without any momentum. And Kopenauer hustling down the line beats the throw. Barely.
Just like last time.
Kopenauer first base. 2 outs in the inning. Bulls would like to get at least 1 more run here in the 6th. With a runner at third. Kimberlin up here. Number 9 hitter takes a strike, 0-1. We've seen some pretty good competition from the service teams. Whether it be an Air Force Base, the Travis Air Force Base, or tonight for Irwin inside. 2-0. Some talented players here. And they lead 4-1. breaking ball caught the bottom half the strike zone.
Nice pitch there too by Allen. Kind of a slow little curveball that found the strike zone.
Kimberling batting. This one gets away, but not far enough to allow Kelly to come home. The throw to second base and out at second base. Kokenauer retired. A great throw made by Thompson. Boy, give Thompson a lot of credit. Fired a key down to second. And a runner left at third. Bottom of the sixth we go. Bullets are down 4-1. We'll be back.
You want to know about life, son? Life is like prime time in the NBA.
Phillies lead bottom half the sixth inning. Here from Adelanto, California, as we take a look at the ball that got away from Thompson, who fired the ball down to second. Made a good throw.
He made a good throw and actually got caught Kokenauer looking. She was running from first to second, looking back at the plate instead of running and hustling to second base. Also, another situation in that play was Kelly standing on third base, made no attempt or no movement towards home plate. You can see the batter Kimberling motioning for Kelly to come home, and she didn't make the catcher take a look at her. Therefore, he didn't have to make a pump, take a look. He had an easy throw to get Kokenauer at second base.
And even though Kelly is a pitcher really by the Bullets, she has played a lot as a shortstop in softball, but unable to get down the line. So it hurts to leave runners on base. It hurts to leave them particularly so at third, and that's the case again in the sixth inning. Bullets do get a run, but again, they've had opportunities to get many more than the one they've earned through the first six. Here in the bottom half the sixth inning, Tim Thompson leads off. And ball one, 1-0.
And normally the base running mistakes have been diminished this year by the Silver Bullets. They have been, in general, smarter base runners. I think the case there is you see Kelly having no baseball experience, not having the spring training time to learn how to run the bases in baseball.
Fastball, skied to center field. Bratz going back, still back, way over her head, off the base of the outfield fence. She plays to Karam, and pulling up lame at second base, Tim Thompson. Pulled the hamstring, the left hamstring. Tim Thompson.
Oh, and that cannot feel good. If you've ever had a pulled hamstring, it feels like he got shot in the back of the leg with a dart. That was a triple for sure, too. The infielders were lined up for the relay to third base. When they turned around, second base was empty. Even no base runner there. You see Bratz, after that ball hits the bottom of the wall, plays it well, and right here, he's trouble making a tough time even getting to second base right now.
So a tire explodes, and Thompson, who's been in the thick of things tonight, made a great throw, good strong throw down to second base in the sixth inning. A good quick release, more of that than the accuracy, gunning a runner down. No shortage of intensity from this guy. Able to withstand Shafrath, who came in hard and even pushed him by a few feet.
Well, it looks like Thompson is hoping that this will just go away or he can shake it off. But
and the other catcher, excuse me, Andy Gooden is the backup catcher, and he is injured. So they're really short-handed.
He's probably doing everything he can just to stay in the game. And you can see right here, oh, he grabs the left hamstring, making that turn around first base. And he's like, oh no, I gotta go to second. Yes, he hit it that far.
And while he may not be in his shape when he played earlier, the guy can still play the game. But hurts himself, he is done. We should also add Aaron Allen, who came in the ballgame to play first base. Catches a little bit, so I would guess he'll be the guy that will be behind the plate now, next half inning.
Well, you know it hurts when you can barely walk on it. That thing must be in a knot.
I look at it, and Stacy Sonny talking.
Yeah, she missed injury of the year. Stacy Sonny saying, "Come on, you can get off the field at least." Stacey Sonny knows what it's like to be injured.
And it's the injury he probably sustained when he collided with Shafrath earlier in the game. Maybe Stacey gave him a bad time about that. But he is certainly a hurting puppy as he heads into the dugout. And not particularly happy with some of the fans. So runner at second base. Pinch runner for Thompson. That's Renneria. No relation to Rich Renneria, who plays in the big leagues. And Moat's up here, and he promptly delivers a base hit into left center field. Renneria around. He will come in to score. It's 5-1.
Well, I think this is the case here. Once again, hitting the fastball. Cam Davis with an 0-0 count, trying to get the fastball over and stay ahead with nobody out and a runner on second. And sometimes what a pitcher just can't help is a good hitting batter. When you put the pitch in there and you challenge them and they take it for a base hit, there's not much you can do.
Hoffman up here, aggressive hitter. Activity starting in the bullpen for the Bullets, as Davis has allowed a couple of base hits here in the 6th inning. Had retired 9 straight, began the 5th, allowed 1 more run. Now has given up another to make it a 5-1 game in the bottom of the 6th. Phil Niekro said he can really see. There's Manji, Christine Manji getting loose. Phil Niekro saying really likes Pamela Davis, what he has seen, and she'll only get better and better. Runner going, pitch outside. The ball's dropped by the catcher Kimberly.
And Davis had an interesting decision to make after being invited to spring training. She tried out in January down in the Fort Myers tryout, and after she was invited, had to make the choice: do I quit school and lose my tuition that I've paid for this semester and take a chance on making this team? Because coming into spring training, she doesn't know if she's good enough to pitch for the Silver Bullets. And she made that decision, and it turned out to be the right one for her. She was in pre-med at University of South Florida. Considered actually taking her courses on the road and trying to maintain contact with the professors, but
boy, it's tough enough to have contact with your family on the road, let alone your professors.
Right, you think that
find out what's going on.
You'd think that someone who has time to wash their shoelaces would have time to study, but
right.
It's a different type of quality and concentration.
Yeah. Meticulous Pamela Davis. Runner at second base. That's Moats. Nobody out of the 6th inning. Bullets are down 5-1. And the curveball poked out to right field. Drops in for a base hit. They're going to wave around the runner. Moats, here comes the relay throw. And Moats is out of the dish. They got him at the plate.
Oh, that's just a great piece of teamwork right there by the Silver Bullets. Kimberlin putting on the tag, blocking the plate. Shafrath making a clean pickup and an accurate relay to McEnany. He turns around and guns the runner. See Shafrath playing that ball, hits McEnany right where she wants it. In one motion, turns around and fires a strike to Kimberlin. Puts on the tag. Nice play.
Good quick release by McEnany. So a fine job. Good execution. 9-4-2. Shafrath to McEnany, on to Kimberlin. Ball sent to right center field. Coming over. That's Bratz. Catch is made. 2 outs in the inning.
I think that is one aspect of the game that the Silver Bullets do get hurt a lot on. Runner on second base, base hit to the outfield. They don't always make that play that you just saw made by McEnany, Shafrath, and Kimberly. It's a combination of arm strength of the Silver Bullets versus leg speed of the runners, as well as we were talking about the technique of the outfielders, being smooth, approaching the ball with speed yet control, and coming up, throwing accurately is a lot of things to put together.
We saw no hesitation either on the part of McInerney. She had no time to waste.
And you see it can be done. It's a matter of doing it consistently and doing it every time.
Aaron Allen, the batter. Throw to first base. Nice dig out by Kokenauer. Ball thrown in the dirt by Kimberlin. Well, if Davis can get out of this inning with just 1 run scoring, should be quite happy. Didn't look too good with 3 consecutive base hits. Called a strike on the inside part of the plate, and that is the wide strike zone of Dennis Dietz.
And as a pitcher, Allen's saying, oh, come on, you got to give me that one when I'm out on the mound.
The 1-1 outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. 2 outs in the 6th inning. Runner at first base. Pierce would follow if Allen gets on base. Davis, we talked about intensity and concentration. She's certainly on a determination savvy for someone so young. Need to put the adjective bulldog in front of her name, but there is something to that effect.
Well, they do call her Pup. I guess she hasn't grown into a bulldog yet since she is young. She got that nickname because she is the youngest on the team. But a fierce pup at that.
She's behind 3 balls and a strike. 5-1. Bullets trail in the bottom of the 6th inning. Trying to get the final out, get the team back in the dugout and see if they can get some runs. This one by a diving Kokenauer base hit. Hoffman advancing to third base. So runners on the corners with 2 outs in the inning. A 2-out single for Allen.
And this is a case perhaps of during a long inning when there's not much defensive action or not much chance for your defense to be ready for the ball. Perhaps the pitcher always hates to lull her defense to sleep. And it looks like this may be all for Pam Davis as Phil Niekro makes that traditional walk to the mound, and usually means the hook.
Manji been throwing for a while. And the call is for Christine. So we have a pitching change. Allen's 2-out single, putting 2 on. Phil's thinking, yeah, do whatever you can to get the final out. Davis threw pretty well. Certainly at a stretch, 9 consecutive batters set down. So we have a pitching change, break in the action. We're in the 6th. Bullets down 5-1. Back with more here from the high desert right after these messages. Christine Manji, the new pitcher for the Silver Bullets, comes in here with runners at first and third, 2 outs. Bottom of the 6th inning with the Phillies of Fort Irwin leading 5-1. Christine's numbers have been on the rise in the second half, unfortunately, and control has been a real problem here in the month of August.
She did start out well. I think they were grooming her to be the closer. And she had some great outings in the middle of the season. I think this month of August has been a little bit tough for her. You see Joe Niekro reviewing Pam's performance with her, trying to give her a positive note to end the season with. She did a nice job. Unfortunately, she faced some hitters that wore on her. That happens. That's the life of a pitcher. Usually on top or you're on the bottom. And this is one of the days where the numbers put Pam Davis on the bottom, but not for good. There's always next season for her. I know they see a bright future for her as a pitcher.
8 hits allowed in the 5+ innings. Christine Manji mentioned she has struggled of late. Her last outing up in Portland last week allowed 8 runs in 2 1/3 innings. Only 3 were earned, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Pitched fairly well against Bellingham about 6 days before that. And she'll face Scott Pierce. 2 outs in the 6th inning. Hoffman, the runner at third base. Down at first, that's Aaron Allen.
That's always the best thing when a relief pitcher comes out of the bullpen. That first pitch right down the pipe for a strike. It really settles in the confidence for a pitcher, knowing that they can come out and immediately do their job.
And Phil Niekro was at a loss of words to describe why Manji's had control problems the second half of the season. They weren't sure whether it was mechanics. She was terrific earlier this year. And a good breaking ball catches the strike zone. That'll help the confidence. Out ahead quickly 0-2.
Oh yeah, when you can get your fastball over and then the next pitch throw a breaking ball for a strike, you're feeling great right now on the mound.
No balls and 2 strikes. The 1-1 or the 0-2 foul back.
Another good pitch, a breaking ball, good enough to look like it was coming over the plate.
Hoffman at third, Allen at first base, 2 outs. Manji trying to wrap it up in the 6th inning. And the 2-strike pitch. Nice stop by the catcher, Kimberling.
Kimberling's done a fine job of improving, blocking the ball behind the plate. In fact, when they were up in Oakland, she was talking to one of the Oakland A's catchers, and he gave her the tip that when you go down on your knees to block a ball, instead of tensing up and curling your shoulders in towards the ball, relax, blow your breath out, and let your body relax. It'll help deflect the ball a little bit softer back into play.
And a comebacker gets by, but taken by McInerney, and they get the out at second base. Boy, Manji upset with herself. She couldn't make the play. McInerney able to do it as she backs up. Christine Manji. Bullets down by 4. We'll be back. Into the top of the 8th inning with Bridget Venturi on Kent Bertavanis. We're at Maverick Stadium, the Class A home for the Baltimore Orioles. The High Desert Mavericks, the team that plays here in this beautiful ballpark. And sold out. Better than 4,000 fans on hand to watch this one. And the Bullets, see if they can get something going. New first baseman taking over this inning, Mike Youngs.
All right, Ben, leading off the inning for the Colorado Silver
Fox
Bullets.
will play there, and Allen. Fox working on the mound. And more changes, and again, Phil Niekro has the lineup card going over with the umpire. And now they call on the player manager, James Hoffman, to make sure they have everything straight. We're talking about some of the players who have progressed and made great improvement. One of the players Phil Niekro pointed out was Missy Kress. Said she has really come a long ways. One of the 3 catchers that Phil uses.
Yeah, Missy Kress has an inspirational story. She's catching in the bullpen right now on her rotation day. But she was on the team, on the original team in 1994, and then released in the middle of the season in June. And committed herself to coming back to this team. And it was, very inspirational to see her back in spring training, being invited again, and now being an instrumental player in the starting catching rotation. Both she and Lori Guthrow were on the original team and then released about a month or 2 after the original team was announced.
Lori's not seen much playing time. Kelly up here and takes a strike. 1-1 the count. You're talking about thanks to a lot of folks who've cooperated throughout the year and made it an enjoyable experience for us. Dale Unger, Executive Vice President. Also Lawton Logan. I've never seen the guy not smile. I know he must smile when he sleeps. The promotions manager. I guess you always got to smile in that role. Nerva Malora, the PR manager. Kevin Lewis always is in a great disposition. He's had a tough job keeping everybody together. Travel from city to city. Full count to Linda Kelly, and we do mean city to city.
Dennis, what are you looking at? You gotta see that on replay.
The 3-2. Ball 4. Yeah, it's one thing if you have a half your schedule at home. Bullets have played in. Hold your breath. Get ready. Memphis, Greenville, Denver, Salt Lake City, Scottsdale, Wichita, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Little Rock, Midland, Greensboro, Richmond, Norfolk, Frederick, Washington, D.C., Flushing, New York, Albany, Cooperstown, Portland, Boston, Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo, Atlanta, Columbia, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Milwaukee, Kansas City, Battle Creek, Geneva, Minneapolis, Reno, Oakland, San Jose, Stockton, San Francisco, San Bernardino, Rancho Cucamonga, Lake Elsinore, Bellingham, Everett, Seattle, Portland, Adelanto, and San Diego. All aboard. Yes.
One more time, Ken. I missed that middle part.
Yeah, that was Buffalo, the one I missed. And almost for good reason. No, I like Buffalo. They had great support throughout the entire year. Chance to play in some big league ballparks. Shafrath watches the count go to 1-1. Shafrath pulls the ball down the third base line. Into the corner. Kelly digging for second base, and she will stop there.
Well, unfortunately, that hit for Shafrath, who has great speed. Could have been a double had Kelly not been in front of her. But now we have runners on first and second with Kropke in an RBI situation.
It's been the story for much of the night. Bullets have been getting runners on base, but just one run is scored. Breaking ball. Missed the strike zone. 1-0.
A lot of people ask, well, what do your opponents say to you? What do other baseball players say when they see the silver bullets? And last year, Kerry Kropke had an encounter with another minor league player in the city that we were in, and he was giving her a hard time about making the $20,000 that first-year players make. And he said, I can't believe you've never played baseball and you're making $20,000. And she said, hey, you know what? Now you know what it feels like when a woman makes 65 cents for every dollar a man makes. Oh. And so he was quiet and went on and played the game.
Yeah, good retort. A blue base hit. That'll load the bases. So Kropke with the single. Bases loaded here in the 8th inning. Bullets now with 6 base hits. And Tamara Ivy will pinch bat for Coconut.
I'm curious in that situation with 2 base hits back to back, one of which Shafrath probably could have been extra bases and scored on Kropke's had there been a faster runner pinch run for Linda Kelly, who's now at third base.
It wasn't as if Kelly was playing a defensive position, being used just as the DH.
And in these late innings, it's likely she won't bat again.
Ivy up here.
Batting for the Silver Bullets, pinch hitter number 16, Tamara Ivy.
Ball 1-0.
Ivy's another local favorite.
See the infield that's being brought in. Excuse me, Bridget. Right out of Norco. They passed through her hometown on the way from San Diego, and they'll do likewise later tonight. There are your runners, Kelly, Shafrath, and Kropke. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Well, Ivy's got 9 RBIs on the year. She's got a couple sitting out there right now.
Ball gets away, not far enough to allow Kelly to advance.
Hey, know your strike from the right. Come on.
3 balls and 1 strike. Kelly down at third base. We got to get Linda a name on her back. Get her to the seamstress or get the uniform to the seamstress. The club for a couple of weeks. A good hitter who's signed actually as a pitcher. She can contribute. 96 inside, ball 4, that forces in a run.
And now Kelly finally does cross the plate with the second run. And with no outs and bases loaded, the Silver Bullets can still be in this baseball game. Phil made a change. He's got Marzetta coming back in to pinch hit.
So 2 pinch hitters here in the inning. Ivy draws a walk to force in a run. And Angie Marzetta will take over. Angie swung the bat very well up in the Northwest. Phil pointed that out before the game. Said in the trip up to Washington and Portland, swung the bat well.
She's looking here to extend her 5-game hitting streak to 6. And hitting .571 with the bases loaded.
They're loaded up. Shafrath, Kropke, and Ivy on the bases.
Okay, she'll say, all right, well, that was a close one, but I'll give you that.
One ball, 1 strike count. Ball sent to center field. Pierce is there. He makes the catch. Shafrath can run. She'll come in to score. And it's a 7-3 game. Boy, the runs in the end, and then you look back at how the Phillies able to pick up some insurance runs in the 5th, 6th, and 7th innings that really hurt.
Yeah, this could very easily be a 1-run ball game, and really should be at this point.
So Marzetta, the sacrifice fly. That's the first out of the inning.
And Marzetta with her 9th RBI of the season. Good job. Does her job at the plate.
Kropke, bottom of your screen at second base. 1 out. Here's Michelle McInerney. Michelle 1 for 4 tonight. And a single back in the 3rd. Ball poked foul, third base side. Bruce Crabb. Souvenir for a fan.
Bruce Crabb played under Phil Niekro at Braves AAA team in Richmond, Virginia. And they shared a lot of baseball philosophies, and I think that's why Phil asked Bruce to be on the coaching staff this year. He's not only a good coach, but an easy guy to get along with. You need to get along on this road trip.
Yeah, I think also Bruce has dipped into Phil's wallet when it comes to some of the golf dates during the off days occasionally.
Yeah, I think Bruce might be winning the coach's golf pool.
Ball hit towards center field. It's in there for a base hit. They may have a force out at third. Here's the throw. It gets away. Up on her feet, Kropke. She'll come in to score. It's a 7-4 game.
Good base running right there by Kropke, and heads up as she slid into third base to pop up and be aware of where that ball is. Creates a run for herself and her teammates right there.
Well, a lot of smiles in the dugout. McInerney with the single. No RBI.
She had to read that ball to make sure it wasn't caught on the fly. Hustles to third base, makes a good slide in and sees the ball immediately. Gets up and starts running.
Able to locate it well before the third baseman did, Riddle. Runners at first and second, infield double play depth. Time run at the plate, ground ball, sent foul. Shannon Mitchum up here. So here in the inning, a walk to Kelly, Shafrath singles, Kropke a base hit. Ivy pinch batting, draws a walk to force in a run. Marzetta sacrifice fly knocks in another run. McInerney's bloop single, then the throw-in error allows another run to score the third in the inning, the fourth in the game for the Bullets. Off speed inside. 1 ball, 1 strike count. And because of a mix-up with the roster or the lineup card, Patrick Scott, their stopper, cannot be used tonight. Fox a toss to second base.
And that's something we certainly don't want to happen with Ivy on second, to get picked off for the second out.
What a helpless feeling for this guy, Patrick Scott. Best reliever, can't pitch. He was inserted in the lineup earlier and never officially removed, at least not up the lineup card.
A victim of the technicalities, huh?
Apparently so is Mitchum, trying to put it in play. But on base 3 of the 4 at bat, struck out in the first inning, single hit by a pitch and walked. Walked her last AB. The count 2-1. Nice block by the catcher. Three balls and 1 strike.
Renteria has done a nice job behind the plate tonight, saving a lot of games.
Ball hit down the left field line, foul.
Well, 3-0. Mitchum was looking for her pitch right down the middle of the plate, and that was certainly one of them. She gave that a pretty good ride. Unfortunately, goes foul for her, but still in a good position. Well, with the count 3-2, is anticipating certainly a fastball.
And here it comes. Ball sent toward the shortstop. Hoffman to second base for 1. Relay to first base in time for the inning-ending double play. 6-4-3. 1 left on base. Bullets pick up 3 though. There in the game we go to the bottom of the 8th. 7-4. The Phillies lead the Bullets. We'll be back. Into the bottom half of the 8th inning from Adelanto, California, home of the High Desert Mavericks, Class A club for the Baltimore Orioles. This beautiful ballpark, built 4 years ago and sold out tonight. Better than 4,000 tickets sold for this game. Bullets back in it by picking up 3 in the 7th or 3 in the 8th inning. But they'll have only 1 more crack as we go to the 9th. Here in the bottom of the 8th, Tamara Ivy takes over at first base. Came as a pinch hitter for Kokenauer. The new catcher, Elizabeth Burnham.
Your attention, please.
And Burnham in the ball game as Marzetta had pinch hit for Shannon Kimberly last half inning.
Talk about a long season. I know Elizabeth Burnham is anxious to get back to her home state of Vermont. She lives in a town where she knows everybody, and she finds it. It's funny where you see the clash of cultures within even a baseball team, where Elizabeth knows everybody in her town, and she comes to a big city like LA and talks to, you know, Coombs and Sonny and McEnany, who can't even fathom that.
Number 3, Mike Youngs.
Cities, Southern California, other locations. Long year, but talking to some of the women before the game tonight, most rewarding, times very frustrating. And keep in mind, a number of the women have given up, or at least taken sabbaticals for some pretty fair jobs. Whether it be as a producer in Hollywood, or as a teacher, administrator, all sorts of backgrounds. The 1-1.
You even have a lot of athletes that have postponed their college degrees, which, you know, is debatable to some extent. You say, well, baseball will be there, college, I better get that over with. Or do you, some people say, well, you never know how long this baseball team's going to be around, so I can always go back to school. And some of them have had to make some rather big life decisions at a young age as to what career path to take care of right now. Although it does, you know, it reaps its rewards, certainly financially, with first-year players making $20,000 for the summer and second-year players making $25,000. That'll pay for some tuition.
Sure. Vernon gives it a chase. Ball caught the screen. I believe it ticked the screen. Unable to make the play because of that. Well, Gina Satriano, a deputy district attorney for Los Angeles County, and talked before about Michelle McEnany as a teacher. Pamela Davis tonight, starting pitcher, will be back in school at University of Southern Florida, South Florida. Stacy Sonny, a freelance TV and film producer, assistant director, involved in field production for Rescue 911.
When you talk about versatile athletes, Pam Shafrath last year in 1994, when she got her invitation to spring training, was playing basketball in her 5th year of eligibility at Drake University. So she ended her basketball season to come and play baseball.
And with the final game Sunday, it's got to be a bit emotional after the game's over. You spent months with friends, making new friends, and all of a sudden people go their separate ways, and many won't get back together again until come March or April.
Well, last year was a very emotional departing, the last day that we played in Fulton County to end this '94 season.
Ketchum wants it and has it.
And it is tough. You see these people every day for at least 8 hours a day. You're either traveling with them, eating with them, playing with them, socializing with them. And you see them more than you do your friends and families. And
they are your family.
It is. You're looking at the Silver Bullet family right there. I felt kind of alone when I went home after the season last year and said, wait, where is everybody? Where are all my 24 best friends in the world? It was a touching moment last year when Phil Necro gathered us, for the last time in the clubhouse in Atlanta. And it's amazing that all the teams and the players and the people he's met along the way, that he really got attached to his program and his players. And it was really amazing to see him, get emotional and say, it really means a lot to me to have done this and be a pioneer in another aspect of baseball where he's accomplished so much.
It's headed in the corner, a base hit. Shafrath, a nice barehand pickup. One out single, pierced the base hit here in the 8th inning. Yeah, I can't imagine a better person for the job as manager in terms of patience as an instructor than Phil Necro. He had managed it at Richmond and never really knew Phil as an instructor, but had a chance to know him and talk with him. He has certainly the right characteristics, personality traits for this job. Certainly the experience. You require a lot of patience. And he has been so tolerant and understanding. But you're right. I think there becomes a real attraction to, and almost a protection or father figure with the players.
Well, that's true. He does have to kind of hoard people together. You got to get them from all those cities you named. He has to make sure he doesn't lose anybody, physically or mentally. And it's tough to keep a team together when you do have a home base. Not to mention you have to kind of groom them and make sure they're developing in the mind and body.
We were talking about some of the folks who have really been instrumental and helped the program. We talked about the coaching staff, because while Phil gets a lot of the attention, he is quick to share it whenever he can with his brother Joe. And we talked about Bruce Crabb and Johnny Grubb. Joe Pignatana was involved in spring training. John Necro, first base coach. Gene Hahn, the trainer.
I think one person I'd like to mention is a man named Tommy Jones, who was the third base coach last year and director of player personnel this year for the Silver Bullets. And he gave up a very good baseball career in managing. He was managing the AA Cubs down in Orlando and had managed the likes of Cecil Fielder and Bo Jackson.
And saved at second base.
And last year during the tryout process, when they were scouring the country for the first group to come to spring training, Tommy Jones was asked to assist in the tryout procedure. You take a look at the jump that Burnham gets a good pitch to release. Just kind of on the wrong side of the bag. If she had been over maybe another foot, she would have had that runner. But he was impressed with the talent that came out for the Silver Bullet tryouts, and he said, I want a part of this. He was tired of, as he said, babysitting first-round draft choices and wanted a little refreshment in the game of baseball.
And Tommy Jones certainly well respected in baseball, and no longer with the Silver Bullets. You take a job with the Dodgers organization, or?
He's in the job search right now back into men's professional baseball.
Well, I know he had an opportunity to coach with a major league team or a AAA franchise. He considered that.
He'll be back in the game in some aspect. We know that he's very talented in what he does, and he's a great judge of talent.
Tommy Jones, good baseball man. Scott Riddle up here. Runners at first and third, one out. We're in the bottom half of the eighth inning. Bullets trail 7-4. It's a foul ball. We're reminiscing. This is our final telecast on the Women's Sports and Entertainment Network. And one more game to go for the team. Sunday at Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego. We've seen some pretty fair competition, some very good competition at times. You see teams that have mixed players, some okay, and then some very talented players. And the various semi-pro teams that have been brought together. We've even seen some teams that have flown people from across the country, whatever it takes to beat the Bullets.
And their reputation will precede them even more as the years come.
And the throw gets away. Runner will advance to second base, but Pierce has to hold at third. Weitzel advances on the air.
Well, I'm not sure that that's the best thing to be doing at this point.
Well, you're really going to pick a runner off third base? What are the chances? Not very good.
That is a very low percentage play. And down 3 runs, those 2 runs aren't necessarily going to make or break the game for the Silver Bullets. You got 1 out in the 8th inning. You want to go right at this batter.
The 1-strike pitch jammed him, sent down the third base line, but it got a piece of him, or did it? It's a fair ball. Throw to first base. There's 1 out. So they get the out at first base. Riddle just stood at home plate, but the home plate umpire indicated fair ball. That ball never caught him. Riddle thinks it hit him. Otherwise, he would have headed down the line.
Well, this is a heads-up play by Stacy Sonny, as usual, not letting the theatrics of another player distract her. She knows that it's the ump's call and says, hey, I'm going to make this play. An easy out.
The ball did catch Riddle, otherwise he would have moved a little bit. He stood at home plate. This one fouled out of play. So 2 outs in the inning. Riddle retired. 5-3. Sonny held the ball for a moment. Well, they didn't check the baseball, look for shoe polish. They're not going to take the shoe off to look for a bruise. Dietz saying, I called you out. I said it's a fair ball, and I'm sticking with my story. In the top of the 9th inning, Sonny, Bratz, and Kelly, the scheduled hitters. Bullets down by 3. Runners at second and third here in the bottom of the 8th. Clayton behind on it. Fastball by Ketchum puts it right by the big hitter.
They can't sound ball till they get.
They can't?
Fabini is usually a good pitcher with an 0-2 count. Keeps the ball out of reach, either makes the batter chase on off speed on the outside part of the plate, or she is not afraid to come inside with some heat.
She's out ahead 0-2. Burnham with the signs. Runners at second and third, 2 outs in the bottom half of the 8th inning. And Ketchum really paying a lot of attention to the runners at second and third. That's Pierce at third. Wetzel is the runner down at second base, corner of your screen. Here's the 0-2 pitch, 1-2.
Ketchum once again paying a lot of attention to that runner. I don't know why. He's really got no place to go at this point with a runner on third base. She got a 1-2 count. She wants to get Clayton right here.
And she got him, and got him looking. Runners left at second and third. Last call for the Bullets. We go to the top of the ninth. Colorado down by 3. We slide into the top half of the 9th inning from Adelanto, California. Mojave Desert, where the Fort Irwin Phillies have a 3-run lead, 7-4 our score. Bullets second to last game, and Ketchum striking out. Clayton for the final out in the 8th inning. Here at the top of the 9th, first pitch swinging, ball hit down to the shortstop and taken by Hoffman. So Sonny retired. Going after the first offering from Chris Fox. And Kim Brott's the batter. Brott's a struck out. Comebacker was taken by the pitcher in the 3rd inning, Clayton. Hit by a pitch in the 6th and grounded out in the 7th inning. Ball 1-0.
And this top of the order is getting a lot of at-bats tonight. This is Kim Brott's 5th plate appearance.
Bullets have 7 hits. They've had a lot of runners on base. Haven't scored many runs. Fly ball driven to left field, going back. And this one caught by Clayton. Reaches over the shoulder, kind of nonchalantly hauls it in. Yeah, he had it all the way. Now he had a grin. Yeah. I thought I had it all the way, and I almost let it get by me.
Looked like it carried a little bit farther in this desert air than Clayton realized. He thinks he's camping under it right there. And good thing he had that 12 3/4 inch glove. Oh yeah, no problem.
Shortstop letting them know, inches away from getting beyond the left fielder.
Well, the great ones always make it look easy, right?
I guess as Linda Kelly steps up here. 0-1. No ball, 2-strike count.
He's drawn 3 walks today, so obviously developing that baseball eye pretty quickly.
Jander popped up, foul territory. Renneria makes the catch and avoids the collision over a flipping Scott Riddle. Riddle's all right. So is Renneria. This one's over. So they avoid the injury and they get a win. The Fort Irwin Phillies scored 3 in the first, hold on to win it by the final score 7-4 over the Silver Bullets. And we'll have more here from the High Desert right after these messages. Here's the line score as the Bullets are beaten by the Fort Irwin Phillies 7-4. Chris Fox the win, Pamela Davis the loss, and she pitched pretty well tonight. But the loss for Davis as her 1-loss record drops to 2-7. For the Phillies, Moats with a triple, a couple of singles, knocked in 4 runs. Shafrath and Kropke each going 2 for 4, 2 singles and a run scored. You can look back at that first inning. And with the ball that was hit well, but you might say Kropke should have had it, and that could have turned things around. But give the Bullets credit, Bridget, able to come back and at least make a game of it thanks to a 3-run 8th inning.
Well, he did make a game of it, and I think that demonstrates the fact that every run is crucial. You look at the 2 runs in the 7th, the 1 run that they snuck out in both the 5th and the 6th, and at the time didn't look damaging, but when you add them all together, 3 runs would have been a tie ball game.
I think frustrating too, though. The Bullets had a lot of opportunities, not just with the 7 base hits or the 1 error made by the Phillies, but the fact that there were a number of batters that were walked, also hit batsmen. You add that up, it seemed like every inning the Bullets had 2 on, 1 out, and they couldn't really get much going until that 8th.
Well, that's something that in this offseason a lot of these hitters are going to have to work on is capitalizing on these RBI opportunities, and that's an important process for these athletes to keep working on.
Bullets beaten tonight by the final score 7-4. We'll have more here from the high desert right after we pause for these messages. There's the final score, 7-4. The Fort Irwin Phillies beat the Colorado Silver Bullets. Our last telecast here on the Women's Sports and Entertainment Network, and not the last game of the year. There's one more coming up on Sunday. I know we said it's emotional for a lot of the players when they say goodbye on Sunday, but this really has been a good year. Team has won more games, better pitching, better defense. What are some of the bright spots as far as you're concerned about this year?
I think the bright spots is just seeing the baseball team in development. You've seen improvements in the statistics alone, both in pitching, ERAs lower, more runs scored, a higher team batting average, less errors, and the numbers show an improvement. Not only that, but you can see even in the quality of play, the plays that don't get in the scorebook have been made as well.
Yeah, how about in terms of confidence? Watching players mature from last year to this year, there's development despite what the numbers might even say.
Right, you can see the confidence not only with the pitchers on the mound, but when a Silver Bullets picks up a ball this year, they know what to do with it. Not that they didn't last year, but it's experience, it's the repetition that is making them just a better organization all around.
Well, it's been a fun year for us, and Bridget, want to thank you for your great work all year long and look forward to it next year.
Right, thank you. I look forward to being here.
Bridget Venturi, a fine job, along with Julie Croto, John Sanders, in addition to Bill Land. That'll about do it here from the high desert, where the Fort Irwin Phillies win by the final score 7-4. Hope you enjoyed all year long Colorado Silver Bullets baseball right here on the Women's Sports Entertainment Network. Again, we thank everybody for their help and cooperation the entire year, from the Bullets office to the folks at Prime Network. Now for Bridget Venturi, this is Kent Ordavanas saying so long from the high desert. Again, the final score 7-4, the Phillies over the Bullets. Good night, everybody.
What question?